All right. So this is application of Python query function. Application of Python query function and some function for multiple data aggregation. So the task, let's view our data. I think our data is called with data one. Let's view the data. All right. So from this data set, we are asked to summarize total profits. Summarize total profits where for only baby food item and sales channel. Sales channel is equal to sales channel is equals to offline. All right. So if you look at this, you will discover that this is two criteria question. The first criteria for the summary will be that the item is
So the line is breaking. I don't know. It's not clear. Seems it's skipping.
I can hear you. Okay, let me see if I can change the network. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now so the first criteria for the summary will be where item type is equals to baby food, and the second criteria is where sales channel is equals to offline. So let's quickly look at how we can answer. So I will start by creating a data object. In other words, a container within the notebook that will be holding the output. So I will say, based on the description, I will say baby underscore food underscore offline, just a keyword to remind me, then equals to, and remember that you call the name of the data set, which is data one, concatenate it with the query function, and then open the single string. Now, the first header is the baby item. That is where the first criteria value is. So I'll just take this by copying it, Control C, and then paste it in here. And then I'll write equals to, and then use double string because you are already writing in single string. So the criteria definition should be enclosed with double string. And what is the criteria that were to be used? You copy it from the data set as well to avoid typographical error, and then I paste. So that is the end of the first criteria. But the question says that this is not the only criteria that will determine the addition. So we can trace baby food to this place, but if we trace it to 6 channel is not offline, then it's not going to be added. That is what it means. So the two criteria must be met before the summary can take place. So to introduce the second criteria, I will just come outside where I declare the first criteria and add the and symbol, and then call the next heading is this, which is the 6 channel, the offline. So I'll take this. So I'll take this header because this is where the second criteria value is. Take it and then add it here. And then after that, equals to, and then use double string also to specify the criteria, which is offline. So I'll take it from here also, Control C, and then add it here, Control V. Okay, so my and is supposed to come here. I think I made a mistake, so the and should come here. Right now, what this will do is just to acknowledge the two criteria, but you are yet to select the header with the values you want to sum up, which is what the total profit. So I will highlight it, copy, and then close this gap, close it, and then you come out here, you use your square bracket to select it. It's also a string, and then put it here. So what you are actually saying is that once you have selected this set of entries, now locate the values under what? Locate the corresponding value under total, and then do what? Add them up. So you are not concatenating the sum after you have called the header with the values to sum up. So if I run it now, I should be able to get my output stored in baby food underscore offline. So if I want to see the result, I will just simply call the name. I'll just type BA and then press the tab button on your keyboard twice, and that will automatically pop up the keyword, and then you run it. So this is the answer. I hope that is clear. Is that clear? If you can hear me. Are you following, Mr. Victory?
Yes, it's clear, but it's this skipping somehow. So the message, I don't know if it's from my side or your own end. It will skip, like sometimes it will hook. I won't hear what you are saying, but I believe the thing is going.
Okay.
I guess so.
I think it's from your end because I'm hearing you clearly.
I guess it's from my side.
All right. So anyway, you are still going to access the video. Just keep following and keep making your notes. So what we have done now, we have been able to answer the question. Okay. So like I advised earlier on, if you want to go beyond 1, 2 criteria, all you need to do is to introduce another and after the previous criteria, and then you specify the header with the value of that third criteria. So you keep repeating the format. So I want to stop here so I can take other ones. Okay, so from here we have been able to use the sum together with the query function to answer 2 criteria aggregate question. Now let's look at applying the same concept, but this time around is for average. So which means that I can also be asked as a data analyst to also calculate or to calculate the average of this same criteria that I use in the summation. So which could be analyze, or what, let's say analyze the total average for same above criteria. Okay, so what I'm going to simply do is to say, let's say what, average underscore for baby underscore food underscore offline underscore offline, then equals to. So what I will do is just to copy this section, Control C, then paste it here. Then the only thing I will change is to change this sum, since the question is the same, to mean. So mean. Then if I run it, I should be able to get my answer stored in what? This. So for me to see the result, I have to just call that data object. So I'll just type AV and press the tab button on your keyboard, bring out the keyword, and then you run it. So this is the average. Okay. So there are decisions the company will likely make by having this information you are bringing out from the data. So that same way, we can also apply the count function. So we can say, okay, do same. The company wants to know how many of this transaction actually generated this value. They want to know the number of transactions that generated this value and also this average. So let's say do same for counting. For counting, so I'll say what? Count underscore total, count underscore total baby food, baby underscore food underscore offline. Always use descriptive word that even when you open this notebook tomorrow, the name can remind you the analysis you perform. Very important. So now I'll paste the same thing. The only thing I'm going to change is just this end, since the question is the same. So I will just simply change here to count. That is all. So if I run it, the answer is stored in this. And for me to see my results, like I just explained, just type the first two letters and then hit the tab button on your keyboard. Definitely you are going to see the keyword and then run it. So there are just three. So there are just three records, three entries in this particular data set that meet the criteria we are using for the analysis. So this will help the company to navigate in terms of making effective decisions. Right? So the next one is this is equivalent to the one I just did now. And then let's quickly look at application of query with variable. Here now we want to bring in variable concepts. We want to bring in variable concept. What is variable in programming? Variables are containers that you create, use for storing value. So what the idea here is that we want to take the criteria and store them in variable so that once we get to where we want to define the criteria, we just reference the variable. Look at the simple example here. So what I did, that same question that we have answered with the sum is what I am repeating, but this time around with variable concept. So at the end of it, you have to compare which one is more convenient for you. Either to go with where you have to store the criteria for the analysis in variables first before you consider, writing the query function. So what we did here is that we are asking that same question that says that we should summarize the the total. Total is a header, just like the way we have total profit or total revenue. So what we are trying to achieve here is that I want to summarize the values under total, where payment method was cash and the gender is female. So the first thing is to store cash in payment, store what female in gender, and then here we just quickly create the variable again, and then the DA is the data set involved, and then the same thing you can see here we have done away with the double quote because now we are just using the R to call the variable name with the belief that once we call the variable name, the values are in there. So just for you to take note of the syntax, right? All right, so let's quickly relate this with the data set we are working with. So here we are performing same analysis, same aggregate analysis, but using variable concepts. So what was the question we answered? The question was, let me see if I can quickly get it here so that don't waste our time. So this was the question. So let me take it here. The question we are to answer, but using the variable concept, is we are to summarize total profit for only baby food item and sales channel is what? Offline. It's offline. So let's say this is the question. So the first thing is for me to take those criteria and put them in a variable. So I'll start by declaring variables. Variables for storing all the criteria for the analysis or for the analysis. So the first criteria is what? Baby food. So I will say what? Baby underscore food is under baby food. Baby food is the first criteria, but baby food is recorded under a column called what? Item type. So I will say what? Item underscore type. Baby food. So the way it is, the way the baby food is written, copy it, Control C, and then paste it. In case you are working and your notebook time out like this, just go up and make sure that you are active in one of them and then go back. So I'm storing baby food, close the gap. So that is going to be the first criteria. So I'll create another variable for the second criteria, which is the offline. So and the offline is under this channel. So I'll say this underscore channel. I'm going to pick a criteria from there, and the criteria is offline the way it is in the data set. So now I have captured all the variables I've captured all the criteria, the 2 criteria. If you are going for 3 criteria, 4 criteria, you make sure that you store them in variable first. Now we can go ahead and write the query function. So the query function, I will just say, okay, let's say baby underscore food underscore offline equals to the name of the data set holding all these criteria value is data 1, then concatenate it with the same query function, and then open your bracket. So after this, now is only one string that we need because we have already stored all our criteria in variables. So once I get to where I will have double quoted baby food, I will just reference what the variable storing it. So which means that it's going to collect the value from the variable. So the next thing is that I will just reference the header the way it is in the data set. Header holding the first criteria, which is this. I'll take it here, Control C, and then go back to where I'm working. Then right, so paste it, then add. So though you do equals to, then you say add. So this at means you want to reference the variable. And what is the variable? It's item type. So you can just type what item, IT, and then press your tab 2 times. If it doesn't bring it, then I would advise you just copy it, Control C, and then paste it here. In other words, you are saying that the value is in that variable. Okay, so after that, while you are still inside the string, you bring in your and then you reference the next header, which is offline, which is says channel. So let me just take it from here and then come back here and then paste it equals to then call the criteria value from this very one that you created as your variable, and then bring it here. All right. So once you are done with this, you have to select the header where you have the values that will be summarized. So I have to use square brackets to select them. And then the header is the same word, total profit. So I take it from here, Control C, then add it here. Okay. So after that, I will concatenate the function, which is what? The sum. So you can see that this is exactly what we did, but the difference is that where we will have putted our criteria while we are writing the query function, we first of all store those criteria in variable, and then when we get to where we need them, we are just referencing them from the variable. So if I run it, I get the output. So let's see if that is going to output the result. If not, we debug it out. Okay, so this channel, there is a typographical error somewhere. This channel, where is the, okay, here. Yeah, there's no L. I will just add L. And that is just a mistake. To acknowledge, for us to see the answer, we simply call this name. This is where the result is. To avoid wasting my time, I can just type what BA and hit the tab button Y. That will call out what the header. Okay, so it's like, sorry, the object. It's like we have used this to store. This was exactly what I used when I was performing this analysis. To avoid conflict, will have even happened. Let me see if I'm going to get same answer. Okay, so let's see the answer we got here. 2310034. So you can see it's either you use this method where you have to define your criteria alongside with the query formula or function, or you use this method where you have to first of all store your your criteria in different variable and use the at to reference them. Okay, so that settles that. So the next thing we want to talk about is aggregating multiple columns using group by. So this one is very, very important. Most of your analysis will actually what required aggregating multiple columns. So here, because if you check what we are doing now, we have been, where we have like 3 or 4 unique values like that offline and online, we have to be doing it separately before we can actually check for the correlation. So that is actually stressful. So understanding this multiple column will really help us to use one stone to kill many birds. Now, if you look at this, the syntax here is very simple, but I'm going to use this. So what it's simply saying is that what the DA is the name of the data set, and then the group by is the function. Then by is the attributes for selecting the criteria for the group by what aggregation. So in this case, I think the best way we will relate it is with the data we are working with. So just take note of it. I'll show us how we can apply it with the data set we are working with. All right. So now, what we are actually doing here, if you look at the outcome here, here I am performing an analysis that will give me the summary of the categorical or the unique value under a header. So instead of it taking it one by one, just like I'm doing since, if I want to just get the summary for each of those unique variables or unique value under the header, I can just use it. So let's quickly, for better understanding, let's apply it with this data set. So what we are doing here is aggregation of values using aggregation of value using group by function. So for example, let me call our data 1. Okay, so from this data set, we want to know the total profits. We want to, in other words, analyze total profit for each unique item type. So you can see it now for each unique item type. So what this is going to do is to, first of all, list out all the unique products and aggregate or summarize the total profits against each of them, which is faster. Unlike this one that we are doing for one, this one is just for sales channel, though we use 2 criteria. So to make the work faster, just apply this method. So let's start by writing the task. The task is from the Amazon data, analyze the total profit per unique item size. Okay, so the function, the syntax is going to be, in this case, I will create an object that will hold the the aggregate or the analysis results. So let's say based on what we are asked to do here. So based on what we are asked to do here, is kindly okay. So based on what we are asked to do here, I would say let's say the question is, from the Amazon data, analyze the total profit per unique item, which means that let's say okay, let me just say group or total underscore profit per underscore unique underscore item equals to. So I'll start by calling the name of the data set, which is data one, then concatenate it with the group by function. Let's say the group by the function, then define the attributes, the header where you have those unique variables that you want to aggregate their value under total profit. So we define that with by is an attribute, and then you select, and then you quote that header, which is total profit. That header with the unique variable is what? This. So all the items here, we have beauty food, we have cereal. So it's going to list them and then total or summarize their corresponding total profit. So Control C, and then paste it here. So that is the criteria header. Then we have to also select the header with the values, which is the total profit. We have to select the header with the value, which is the total profit. So come in here and highlight this, Control C to copy it. Now, what this will do is from here we call out the unique value you have under the item type, and then you step out from that query function. So this is no longer within the query function. So the query function or the group by function must have assembled them or listed the unique item. And then you are saying that use list, two square bracket. That is what list inside list, and then total profit, which means that the values that will be summarized against the unique item that must have been listed under what? Total profit. Then you need to also define the function that we do the summary, either counting or sum or me, like I've explained before. So I'll say, okay, I just want the summation based on the question. So if I run this now, our answer is stored in this data object. So for me to see it, I will just say total and then tap the tab button, and then you will see the keyword. Then if you run it, you see that what? So it calls out all the unique items and also give us the summary of their total profit. So which means that for all the items that were sold that falls under baby food generated this total profit. Beverages generated this profit. The cereal generated what? This. So since this is a valid data set, like I said, you are supposed to look at the report and then write down your observation. Number one, identify the highest, the least. What is the difference between the highest and the least? Mr. or Dr. Uzoma Balata, welcome. You joined early.
Well done, sir. I'm very sorry that I came in late.
All right.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you. So I've been on it since, so you get the video and go over it before tomorrow's section. So you were the last class now. Okay, no problem.
Yes, I was at the last class.
All right. So that is for that. So now there could be an instance where after outputting your value, you discover that you do not have serial number like this. You can see that the head are good. Thank God I have run into that same scenario. You can see it here. So look at the way the total is. Look at the way the item type. So there is no serial number. We don't have ID like number one, number two. So in that case, that is where you will add this. That is what dot reset underscore index in order to generate the serial number. So let's quickly go there and add it to the function that generated it. So you can either add it here. I can add it here like dot reset underscore index. So if I run it again, you see that what it will automatically add the serial number and also display the header in a proper way. Before, this total profit was kind of not on the same alignment or level. So it's either you add it here before you even execute it, or where you have already executed, you can also add it to your data object. That is how to go about that. So that brings us to the end of the aggregate analysis. The aggregate analysis, I believe with what I've explained so far, it is very clear to us. It's very clear. So now we started with general aggregation where we added value under a column without specifying the criteria. And then we moved to using work criteria and then down to multiple criteria. And then finally using group by, that is what, to be able to perform the aggregate analysis at once on all the what, the unique items. So this is where I draw the curtain in this section. So by tomorrow, we will now be looking at probably the final aspect of Python, which is the data visualization. Since we have done data selection analysis techniques, we have also done aggregation analysis techniques using Python aggregate function. So the very last section, the last part on data analysis with Python will be data visualization. So I will be focusing on that tomorrow. So welcome back, sir. Mr. Valanta, welcome back. All right. So see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining.